everyone, it's Marguerite again with Wreaths by Marguerite. Good to be here with you again. Today's project was this wreath with the watermelons. This is not a kit, it is just a particular project I'm making to fill my shop. It will be available on Etsy. So join me and watch how I make this to see if it's something you would like to make. I do offer kits for all sorts of different storm door style wreaths for each season. So this will give you an idea of what it entails. So follow along, come on. Since this one is just for my shop, I'm going to quickly go through assembling it. If you would like to see a more detailed version of how to make these wreaths, I have a ton of them on this channel. It's called a storm door wreath, like I said in the intro. So follow along. First thing we do is we get all of the extra things out of the way that we're not going to work on at this particular moment. Right now we are going to use the mesh and the base. So I'm going to get that all ready. We do the inside set of 6 at one point at the end, and then right now we're going to do the outside 6 pieces of mesh to go in the wreath. When you receive a kit, you get this all set up, the mesh, the ribbon, and the sign. Everything's attached. You just have to do minor cutting of your ribbon. This is a pattern mesh, so it's a lot easier to find your center. This is also a fabric mesh. That means that it's got lots of fabric fibers in it, as well as the plastic that makes it water resistant, but it's a much softer mesh, a lot easier on your hands. So I just put these in the pipe cleaners, which are horizontal, and I put the mesh in there vertically and twist this a couple times nice and tight, and then position the cut edges of the mesh over each other with the outside one over the inside one, and then I adjust the outer edges as needed to hold it in place. I always do every other. I just like the pattern it makes, especially. We turn the mesh curl side down always in this kind of a ruffle. This is just a basic ruffle. There are others that I do in other projects. If you follow along, especially in the pixie wreaths I do, if you watch any of those videos, you'll see what's called the woodland ruffle. That I love to do because you roll up the ends and it completely hides all of the cut edges. All mesh phrase. There's no avoiding that. I did this one today because I'm a big watermelon lover and I needed one for my shop. I was out. And show season's coming up. I do farmers market all summer because I don't like to travel in the heat and set up, but I love doing craft shows because I love to get out and meet the people. So, and I'm loving these color combinations. Absolutely my favorite food, watermelon. I lived on it growing up. Now it's a little too fattening to eat at that rate. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. After we get the first 6 pieces of mesh in, which were on the outer 2 rings of a 4-ring wreath form. It must be 4 rings for this to work properly for a storm door style wreath. I've not tried other ways, but I guess you could use a 3-ring, but it's going to be a little different. I'm not sure if it'll be smaller or tighter ruffles. Get this one in position. There we go. Always putting that curl side down. My favorite is this mesh, the fabric mesh. I buy it in just about every color combination it has. Quite a bit of the red and black buffalo plaid as well as the black and white buffalo plaid. They have so many versatile uses, you know. Put that in there. Bring the pipe cleaner up. Tight and low. Even though this is not a tutorial, I still find myself explaining what I'm doing, which gives you a little bit of an idea of what I do in the tutorials. In the tutorials, I have different degrees of detail, mostly where I talk you through every single piece of mesh, cutting every single piece of ribbon, Then there's some where I only do a little bit of it. You can pick and choose what you think would work best for you. If you're an absolute newbie, I would watch one that's super detailed. I decided to do kits instead of in-person classes because this allows you to do the project at your own pace if you decide to purchase a kit. It allows you to discover whether you like it or not without an audience. The nice thing about the kits is you're getting just a little more than you need in products, so you're not stuck with a bunch of extra just in case you don't want to make more. You're not stuck with a lot of extras, but it gives you a taste. Plus, I can pass my savings along by making multiple kits rather than you having to go run all over the place to buy the products yourself. It's one-stop shopping. You just buy a kit, you got everything you need except for the tools, which are very minimal tools involved, as you'll see. Even the ruler isn't necessary because I make it super easy. So there's the first layer. We're going to start putting our ribbon in. I'll need 6 of these bundles. 4, 5, 6. Okay. Trying to decide. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the... You can put them in whatever order you want, but I'm going to go with the gingham on top. Now, is this directional ribbon at all? Yep, of course it is. I wasn't paying attention. Like that. For the bottom layer, you always point your ribbon to the outside edge because you want to be able to see it once the wreath's completed. There's going to be another layer of mesh on top of this. So you want to see some of it. I'm going to put that in the trash bag. Okay. Tuck that in. I'm gonna put them on either side of the 1.5 inch. This is a 2.5 inch ribbon and this is a 1.5 inch ribbon. And I also on the bottom layer separate with the when I separate the ribbon out, I usually do one side one way, one side the other. See how that one is up there and that one is same one's down here. And I also do the same thing with this. So all the watermelons are going that way. Confusing myself. I just find by doing every other, the way I do with the mesh and ribbon, it gives it a specific design and it also helps keep it nice and low because that's so important with the standard wreath. Since you only have 4 inches of space to work with, you want to keep the look short. I'll show you at some point how thin it really is. It's going to look big and fluffy looking at it straight on, but when you look at it from the side, you'll be amazed how thin it looks. In there. Hope everybody's ready for summer, depending on when you're watching this. Definitely was ready for warmer weather. I always look forward to this winter when it's the summer, and I always look forward to the summer when it's winter. I'm sure a lot of you are like that. I can't be the only one, right? I'm going to go back and do the other 3, and that layer will be done. You guys let me do it now. Oh, did you see that? Did you see what I did there? That's okay, it's not too late. Come on, pipe cleaner, open. Did anybody catch it yet? Did you catch what I did wrong? I'm gonna find out in just a second. So, This is supposed to be on top. That's what I did wrong. Nice thing is, it's easy to recover from. Twist it, tuck that back in, and let's try this again. You know why I did that, right? Because I had my bundles made the other way, in the other order. Yep. Okay. So now we're going the opposite way, and then I'm going to put this in the center so I don't screw up again. Ruffle, ruffle. Make that V. Even when you make that inverted V, when you put the ribbon in the pipe cleaners, it's still going to creep back up. It's unavoidable, I've found in my years of doing this. But at the end, you always adjust your ribbons anyway when you're in the fluffing of the wreath. Okay, this is going to go that way. All right, 2 more to go on this layer. Putting them in the right order. A lot of muscle cars out there tonight for the cruising night. I can hear them. Anybody else have cruise nights in their town? You may be little, but we know how to have a good time in this town. Lots of fun things for the families. Okay. Spread that out. Now I'm doing it the opposite. See, on the green one, the watermelons go all sorts of directions, so it doesn't matter which way I put them in. Or the watermelons on the one with the pink. Yeah, you gotta watch what you're doing. If you don't care and it's just for you, but when it comes to taking care of my customers, I like it to be completely right. Okay. All right, that's the first layer. Not very difficult, right? It's just important to remember that the section of the wreath that you're working on at the time, you really want to keep it right in front of you so your ribbon and mesh doesn't end up facing the wrong direction. Meaning, if you don't have it in front of you and you do this, see how the ribbon's going to be? That's not right. It's going to be funky and it's going to hide so much of your ribbon, and then what's the point of having all that pretty ribbon there? This allows you to feature much more of your ribbon that you invested in. Okay, so now I'm going to bring the pipe cleaners up from underneath that are on rings 3 and 4 to do the top layer. And then we're going to do the mesh on this real quick. Okay, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Spread them out. My first one out. Oop. Oop. That just makes it easier when I'm putting the mesh in the pipe cleaners when it's already positioned. One less thing to have to try to do with 2 hands when you need 3. Okay, put it in there. One, 2. Outside cut edge. Inside cut edge, outside cut edge, over inside cut edge. Position, make sure it's round, and then curl under the edges. Okay, Flip one. I love this mesh. My favorite. Pardon. Get that in there. See how quickly it goes once you're done. This is my third wreath. No, wait. Fifth, because I did a few more before I did tutorials. It's my fifth wreath today. Okay. Outside cut edge. Oh, my inside cut edge. Outside cut edge or inside cut edge. I'm going to take a drink of water in a second because I'm getting dry. Pardon, guys. This one, and then I'll go back and do the 3 in between. Our kits come with written instructions as well. When you purchase a kit, you get that and a thank you card. And it's a great place to write all the notes you need to help you with assembling your wreath. Especially if you decide to do it on your own without the video. I recommend watching the videos when you're doing a kit completely through. Take notes as you go and then go back and watch it as you're creating it and stopping and starting it as you need it. That way you know all the ins and outs and whys of what you're doing. Last 3 before you get started. And if you do make any of the wreaths that I showed you how to make or buy the kits, I would love to see pictures of your product. Just post them right here in the comments or send me a message. The email address is on the page. Turn that. Twist and tight a couple times. Let's see. Bring that up. So like outside cut edge, got a fray going on there. Deco mesh is like Velcro and it frays. But you can minimize that by handling it less. That's why I think it's so important to watch the video and do things step by step so that you can avoid extra contact with your product. Be patient. This is supposed to be fun when you're doing this. And yeah, you can stop and start if you need to. That's the nice thing about a project like this. Why did I just do that? Because this mesh in the inner side of the roll gets super curly and it's uncooperative when it gets like that. So I usually lay it down with something, usually my phone, but not when I'm using it, doing a video. I don't need to be putting my phone out there. Anything weighty to hold it down while you're working on it is helpful. Like I said, it's usually whatever's in closest proximity, but usually my phone. One more to go. All right. Let's have that hold it down for me. Use the edge of the table to unroll it. We find all sorts of tricks along the way of how to make things a little easier. That's one of mine. This is much easier to ruffle and keep it centered. Keep it in the center because it has the pattern to it. That's always helpful. When I do the tutorials, I show you how to keep on center using a little chip clip, like that purple one right here. It does help a lot. Give you a couple ideas on how to do that to keep things centered and keep frustration at bay. All right, let me see, curl that outside edge. All right, now I usually put my sign on before I put the last of the ribbon. So I usually sit for making these projects. Actually, I should say I sit and stand. I can't sit the whole time. But I stand to put the sign on for sure to make sure I have it centered in between the pipe cleaners. And I use this handy dandy little plastic embroidery tool to put the pipe cleaner from the sign through the mesh. It sure does take a lot of aggravation out of trying to get it through all those layers of mesh. Making sure that I do not put it through any ribbon. That is a no-no. We don't want to do that. Damage your ribbon. Granted, you may not see it if it's hidden, but what's the point if you're going to ruin it, right? Let's not do that. Okay, let's see. Turn it over so I can hook those two to the frame. And I always tuck the end in so it's not facing the door, because we don't want to scratch somebody's door. There's a thought process behind each thing we do to make sure that we get the best product and make our customers happy and not damage anything in the process. Okay, so now I'm going to put the other two in there. The way I'm putting this sign on helps the sign stay flat and not end up cockeyed, and keep it centered. Get that there. Okay, turn it back over and attach it to the frame around the ring. Take that pointy edge and poke it back down into the wreath. And I try to use pipe cleaners that match the mesh so that if somebody's putting this on a door that has a glass insert, you don't see all sorts of wild colors on the back. It's all cohesive. Okay. I'm going to put the rest of the ribbon tails on. Do I want to stick with the same? Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. Oh, I'm going to do it. No, I'll still do it that way. But I'm going to fix the bundles so I don't get confused again. So this is a pretty quick project when you have everything cut and prepped for you. In the kits, the only cutting you're doing is putting the V's in the ribbon tails. I've measured everything out for you and folded it all to make it easier for you to do with the minimal amount of time and tools. Put that in there. I'm going to put the pink one. Up. This one there and this one here. Let's go down this side. Repeat the process slightly different than I did on the bottom. It's all about giving it more character and dimension. And if you like this, it'll be available in my shop. If it's not there, that means I sold it at a show or somebody else purchased it, but reach out. There's always the chance I can create it again. for you. On the next bundle, I'll show you what I was looking for. So this one is going to be the green out. I usually do the bundles at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock on the wreath last because I like those bundles to sit on top. Just another one of my tips. Okay, so this one should be the same as this one. So the slice goes that way. We're tightening this up when we put it in there. That way you can put some pressure on tugging the ribbon. Three to go. Show you what I'm looking at. See the watermelons go both any which way? With this one, they all go that way. So I need to make sure that since I'm doing it every other, this one needs to be opposite of that one. Does that make sense? I hope. Out. And now I can do the centers. So this needs to be this way. There's that. Twist that up. That one's nice and fluffy. And the final one. One goes this way. And we'll put that in there. So see, that wasn't very hard, huh? Yeah, I know I made a few. But it's pretty simple, and when you slow it down and take the steps, I know you can do this. And if you don't want to be creative and you want to buy it pre-made, just hop on over to my Etsy shop. I've got lots to choose from. All right, so let me tighten that up. Not tighten it up, curl that up. And then I'm going to go around the bottom and make sure all those ribbon tails are pulled out. So they can be seen and not hidden underneath. I don't want them hiding. Oh, that pretty ribbon to show, huh? All right, go. Well, there you have it. Now you know how I make a storm door wreath. I didn't remember in the intro to explain what a storm door wreath is, but I did a little bit throughout the video, and I'm also going to go a little more in detail now. A storm door wreath is a wreath that's made so that it stays under 4 inches deep. That is the amount of space that you generally have on between most screen and storm doors and your regular door. So you have 4 inches to place something in. And if you try to use a traditional wreath that has a big bow, it's just going to look really smashed in that space. So one of my mentors came up with this design. Still has tons of ribbon, and as you saw, it's really thin. Isn't that cool? It can go anywhere, but that was the original design for it. It works really great. We live in southwest Nebraska, so we get a lot of weather, especially wind. So having it behind the storm or screen door keeps it from flying down to the railroad tracks, if you know what I mean. So thank you for joining me today while I made this watermelon wreath. I appreciate you spending some of your time with me while I do this. If you like the content that you see, I would love it if you subscribe to the channel. I also have a Facebook page, Instagram, and Pinterest, all called Wreaths by Marguerite. So please feel free to follow along there, and if you like this creation, it will be in my Etsy shop, and all that information will be down in the description. Thanks again, and have a great day.